Marguerite, would you please take roll call?
Yes. Commission Chair Marty Rosen.
Present.
Commission Vice Chair Bill Zimmerman.
Here.
Commissioner Tom Gidroyce.
Here.
Commissioner Ken Gaunt.
Here.
And Commissioner Richard Croy.
Here.
Wonderful. We're all here. Tom, would you please lead us in the flag salute?
Certainly. And please join me in saluting our flag and begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. That brings us to item number 4, the presentation on professional boxing. And I'm going to turn it over to Robert.
Thank you, Chair Rosen and Commissioners. This evening, at the request of the Commission and also of the Council, we've reached out to Hall of Fame boxing, professional boxing, to come and give a presentation to the Commission on some of their activities and the mission of their organization, and maybe some of their future plans they have within the city of Menifee. So I'd like to have Robert Lewis come up, please. Yeah, also is with me. Wonderful.
Trainer, can I give you guys some? Good afternoon to you guys. My name is Robert Garcia, and I am now a resident of Menifee, beautiful city. And me and my partner, we have something that we've been doing back home in Oxnard, and we're expanding now. We moved to this area, so we want to show you guys what we can do and offer to the city of Menifee.
The Robert Garcia Boxing Academy right now, the one in Oxnard. We have about 250 kids, local kids in the area. These kids are the kids that usually don't play basketball, they don't play soccer, they don't play football. Some of them come from, families with single parents and, struggle with education a little bit. So our school, our boxing academy has turned into somewhat like a school, but it's a facility where kids can come in and they can learn professional boxing in a very safe environment. We have numerous success stories of kids that have come to the gym. They start at age 6, they go all the way up to 18. There's kids that come to the facility that train, and they have no aspirations of being a professional boxer, but they still come and enjoy that environment for the recreation of the sport. And then we have kids that develop, and we take to various tournaments, and we develop them into young amateur boxing athletes. Rob, you want to talk about some of the fighters?
This year, when I moved here, I learned that Menifee does a boxing tournament. I actually went to the tournament. It's I think at the college or on the other side of the bridge. It's like a 3-day tournament, and I figured, well, they have this tournament every year. I've heard, for the last few years. I said, why not offer something that we could do for the kids to participate and represent the city of Menifee in that local tournament that you guys have once a year. I've done this for many years. I'm a former professional fighter, former world champion, and for the last 10 years I've been a trainer, and I've trained fighters, world-class fighters, top pound-for-pound fighters in the world. We've been against the best fighters in the world. We've been in there against Floyd Mayweather a couple of times, Manny Pacquiao a couple of times, with those fighters that I trained that were what Robert Lewis just told you guys. Kids that came to the gym, were getting in trouble, they started doing good in their career, and one day they end up making big fights against big names. So, that's one thing that I like to, do with the kids. Start them young, and one day build them up to be something big in the boxing world.
So we wanted to see what type of participation we can get the city to get involved with. Robert had the PAL Center in Oxnard. They provided a gym, and they provided in a strategic area where a lot of kids could actually get to this one facility. Had to be about a couple hundred kids at that. And this is before the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy, and actually about 100 kids. And the city provided a gym, and I guess they also provided a little bit of help with some of the training, salaries for the training and stuff. And so with Rob and his status in boxing, he's able to attract a lot of sponsors. We have Reebok right now sending the top latest gear right now. The kids get this stuff, we get sponsors that send donations to help us offset the cost. Rob gets a donation from Everlast to come and do a lot of equipment, and then Rob donates. I mean, in our gym in Oxnard, there's got to be $150,000 worth of equipment that Rob's put in himself, for the kids. And so, because Rob's living here now, and his trainers, one group of our trainers that train some of our Russian professionals are staying in the Oxnard location. Rob's going to, he's been around here looking for a location, and he said, Rob, why don't you call the city and see if they're interested in doing something with me? And, it's something where he can bring all of, his relationships to help on the sponsorship side, obviously his organization with the gym, and if we can find a facility and then maybe offset some of the cost on one side, we can probably do the other side and have a very successful program for the kids of this community here.
I have my son and daughter who, my son is 7, and he's playing AYSO soccer, and he also did flag football here in already local here in Menifee, and I thought well, all those things are available, why couldn't we have a boxing facility for young kids that want to practice some, learn some discipline, learn some self-defense after school, where instead of being home or hanging around with boys, they have a place to go and hang out and learn some sport, learn dedication. It takes, a lot of kids. We've had a lot of kids in the Oxnard area that parents bring them because they're always in trouble. Their grades are not good, and parents think, well, bring them to boxing because that's the way they are, But the parents learn that after a few months, the kids' grades start getting better, their behavior starts getting better because boxing teaches them discipline. And in the gym, all my kids, they learn how to respect everybody. They come in, they shake everybody's hands before they start training. They're very respectful, and they learn that because that's what they get from my gym. And a lot of kids have changed. A lot of kids have changed from being in trouble out in the streets to going to college, going to universities. We've had a lot of stories where kids graduate high school and they end up going to universities around California. So I think it's a good program that we have going on in Oxnard, and I would like to bring it to Menifee too.
Any questions?
Yeah, any questions by the commissioners?
I have one. So just so we all understand, currently you're operating in Oxnard. Do you have anything that's going on in this area right now?
I do have I have a private area. It's a house, like a garage type. I just did something quick because I need to train. My younger brother already lives in this area, and he's a professional fighter. So I had to put something quick so I could train him there. And now that I'm over here, I have my other fighter, Brandon Rios, who has fought Manny Pacquiao and is gonna fight on HBO November 7th. He's fighting Timothy Bradley, kid from the Coachella area. It's gonna be a big fight on HBO, and I have them training in that place right now because I had to build something quick. So I do have something in Riverside because that's where it was a little better for me to pick up the property where I built the gym.
Okay, and then you need to be indoors, right?
Yes, it needs to be indoors.
Okay.
Yes.
We have parks that's under the purview of City of Menifee that basically on the west side of the freeway, and I'm not sure that we even have any gymnasiums that are available on this side. Do we?
Not currently, no.
So right now, we don't really have any indoor locations available at this point, but,
Right.
yeah. I don't want to make you mad.
No, no. No, definitely not. I just felt, it's something that I would like to do.
Yeah.
I see my kids already in school here. I have a son that's in high school,
Sure.
and my daughter in junior high. So, that's where we get all the kids back in Oxnard. Kids that come in after high school, after junior high, and they spend 2-3 hours a day. It's like an after-school program. They learn the sport, they learn discipline, and they're not out in the streets, which is the main thing for us.
There's definitely value in it. We're just trying to think of how we can help you, and
Right.
we can only offer what we have.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
The other side of the freeway is park system, which is run by Valley-wide Parks and Recreation.
Uh-huh.
They might have something that would be suitable and could maybe roll this into one of their programs. I don't know if you've had any conversations
I
with them?
haven't. I'm not from,
It might-
I've been here, I moved here, my wife moved here last summer,
Okay.
but I moved here in December, so I haven't known
We
her
could
at all.
certainly, introduce you to them. That's a possibility. Does that make any sense to our guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, they also have, the only gym indoors, but again, it's used for so many other things, would be the gym at the Ashley Center.
And also Bell Mountain.
Yeah, but they're used for so many other things.
They have another building over by Winchester. I don't know how suitable it'll be.
The Dominigonium.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's possibility
but
with
that's
that
a community
organization.
center that's county.
Oh, that is? Oh, I
Yeah,
thought it
that's
was
Yeah,
county.
I think my daughter was doing basketball there, what you're talking about, I think it is county.
Yeah.
Is it,
Go ahead, Rick.
is it possible to partner with the high schools to either rent space or get a program going through the school system?
It's a good question. The permits were recently approved for Santa Rosa Academy's gymnasium construction. You've probably seen them grading out there. They're getting excited and ready to move that project along. Part of our relationship and part of the conditions for their improvement include a joint use agreement with Santa Rosa, which is already inked and executed. And I know Jason has been eager to get some programming geared up for when the facility is completed. We hadn't really talked specifics about what will go in there yet during the after-school time when the school is done using this space. But the time window is for the joint use is usually pretty narrow. So it's just something we'd have to negotiate when we get to that time.
I think what you're hearing is, man, we want to help you. It's a little early, in the formation of things, but we really want to help you. My daughter teaches in Oxnard, and
Is that right?
yeah, she teaches some of those kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a rough area.
Yeah, it is.
But motivation is the key, and, you guys are running a great program. However we can help, I think it's a matter of getting in that right spot at the right time.
And I'm, I already have, I have my place in Riverside where I got my guys right now for right now, and I still got the auction program running. I'm still driving there.
What a
almost every
commute.
day. Yeah,
Oh.
I'm driving almost every day in the morning, so driving there and back. So I'm still there, but I just
Yeah,
wanted to bring
one
that
of the
idea up for
questions
you
I have
guys.
is, if it's not a city-owned facility, like if we get a facility, would the city still be able to participate in some way, shape, or form?
You would buy the facility?
No, if we lease it, we found a
Oh,
building.
okay,
that
but
we
you
like,
would get the facility.
Yeah, so if that's the only,
It's in the city limits is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
exactly.
Building someplace. We could consider adding it to some of the programs which we already offer.
Yeah, I think the question sounds like it's more geared toward what support can the city provide if the facility is already taken care of outside of what's in our inventory, and that's a resource question, I think. Typically, any support toward a third party should go through our CDBG program, public service program, which you all know there's an application process for, and the MCAC does a review of those applications annually. And so I guess my advice to this group would be, once the application process comes around, submit one. Because if you're servicing kids that are in eligible low to moderate income areas, you're a good candidate and you're providing a structured program for them, you're a good candidate to receive those funds pending the final review of the MCAC and City Council. I can certainly defer to Margarita, who's our expert on it, but that to me is the best source of funds available for programs that service this type of clientele.
Margarita, when would that come up?
Well, we're coming up on our 5th year, this current 2016-17, so the application for that cycle is tentatively scheduled to be released in late November, early December, so a few months away.
It's going to go fast.
Yes.
All of the information on the program is available on the city's website. Under Community Services, there's a side menu that says CDBG. It stands for Community Development Block Grant Program. And the application's there, the timeline's there. I
Okay.
think that might be the best place to start just for program costs that you want recovered.
Sure, sure. Okay, very good.
You may want to talk to Margarita sometime during the week at her office and
Yeah.
get a better explanation, because there's
Sure.
a lot of alphabet talking here.
Yeah.
But we've been doing this for several years, and it's money that comes to us through the federal government, which we can
Disperse out.
give to different organizations which apply for it, and then a decision's made which ones are going to get the money.
Gotcha.
But you have to be a 501c3.
Yes.
And as long as you are, and you're dealing with low to middle,
Moderate.
moderate
Mhm.
income, you'd be qualified.
Okay. Well, very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
much for your time.
Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Okay. Item 5, approval of the minutes of September 17. Are there any changes to those minutes?
I just have one quick correction on item 10 on page 3. Just wanted to point out, Commissioner Croy mentioned received a complaint from a resident regarding restroom supplies and lighting of the park. I'd just like to note that that was La Ladera Park. Thank you.
Anything else? In that case, I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes
Move approval.
with the addition of La Ladera Park.
Correct.
Okay, how about a second?
Second?
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved unanimously. The item 6, is there any modification to the agenda?
There is
Just
none.
did it.
Okay. So agenda is approved as is. We'll go down to public comments. Have there been any public comment forms
No.
submitted?
There are no public comments.
No public comments.
8.
All right, let's go to the discussion items. Item 8, 8.1, routine maintenance contract and staffing plan. And we will turn it over to Robert.
Thank you, Commissioner, Chair Rosen. And this item is a follow-up to some of what I presented during the last meeting. It's the formal review of the proposal for routine maintenance of Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District 89-1C. What you have on the screen in front of you is a map of that district, and I know it's kind of fine print, but I did provide on the dais a copy of this map so you can get a little closer look. In addition to the PowerPoint handout, there's a standalone map that hopefully gives you a little more detail. It's a big area. It covers the entire city, both east and west of the freeway. That's a common misunderstanding about this LLMD. There are other LLMDs, obviously, on the east side of the freeway, particularly or specifically those that are managed by Valleywide. They have 3 that somewhat overlap these, but do not charge for the same services or same specific areas. However, this LLMD became the city's responsibility officially when it was incorporated. However, the county transportation and Land Management Agency had been administering it on behalf of the city ever since incorporation, because the city was not yet prepared to take it on. And so they had been collecting the assessments and completing all the maintenance work until the city found it was a time that they were ready to take care of it. If you go back to 2014, the city staff did meet with TMLA about a transition plan and agreed that in January of that year, the transition would take place. That did get a little delayed, and initially the plan was to transition from transportation over to the City Public Works Department for all the components of the district. And the district incorporates maintenance of a handful of improvements, one of which is right-of-way landscape maintenance. The other is some street lights, street signals, fossil filters, and other assorted small things that you see on the budget that's on your dais as well, attached to the map. What's being presented this evening is just the component that oversees the landscape maintenance areas, not the lighting or fossil filters. So right now, ever since January, that contract that the county had been monitoring had gotten extended on a month-to-month basis with a company called Inland Empire Landscaping to do the routine maintenance, that's sort of mow and blow, weed abatement, irrigation repair, those sorts of things. That's effective until this RFP is concluded and we select a vendor, so to speak. And as such, Public Works, who has a little bit of a backlog due to all of the development going on in town, had approached us, the Community Services Department, and asked if we would be willing to take on the landscape portion of the district, mostly due to the fact that we have expertise in the area and we have a number of right-of-ways and parkways that we already maintain. And so we agreed to that, knowing that there's some benefit in having consistency in the maintenance standards across the board, and decided to do some modifications to the RFP that was already posted so it coincide with what we already do in our parks and our other right-of-ways. That was posted in September. It closed just last week, and staff has reviewed all of the all of the bids, and is recommending that the commission make a recommendation to council for selection of Adame Landscape as the preferred vendor to do the routine maintenance. And I'll point out a couple things about this contract that are different from what the month-to-month contract was. Similar to our parks and our right-of-ways, what we've done in the last year is removed the responsibility of irrigation repair and water management. Those tend to be the largest cost drivers and things that, if the city had control over it, would be a great benefit to our budgets. Since these are obviously funded by special tax districts, there's a concerted need to keep those costs under control. With irrigation repair, I should say, by doing it in-house, we have control over the cost of supplies. If it's through a contractor, you typically have to deal with their markup and sometimes a delay in them getting the parts. On water management as well, especially in the midst of the drought, we want to make sure we have 100% control over what water we use in each of these areas. So that was a couple of the modifications made to the RFP and resulted in a pretty significant drop in the cost. The month-to-month that was being completed was about $180,000 a year. The bids that came back on this process was just under $150,000 a year. So, in addition to the contract, we understood by taking on this responsibility, we would be assuming about 1.2 million square feet of additional landscaped area. To give you a point of context or point of reference, all of our current facilities for right-of-way and parks, it's just under about 2 million square feet. And we have 2 maintenance specialists full-time and 1 maintenance supervisor, Mark, who's here, who oversee that. So if we're adding 1.2 million more square feet, obviously need additional bodies to keep an eye on things, hold the contractor accountable, do the repairs, and also manage the waters. So you can go to the next slide. This is also in your staff report budget that essentially shows our expenditure plan at the 8-month and then also for the year spread across the zones within the district that have landscape components. I want to point out this is just landscape budget. This is not the fossil filters or lighting. And so as you can see, annually, the cost estimate is about $400,000 for 1.2 million square feet, which is actually a pretty good deal when you think about it. The portion of this that's for the routine maintenance works out to about 13 cents a square foot, and then all of these other soft costs are included here, including the cost of the salaries. So can you go to the next slide, please? So there's a number of items that we're requesting the commission recommend council approve. One is the contract with the Dame Landscaping. The $94,000 is really just for the 8-month period to bring us through the end of the current fiscal, and then it would it would be $142,000 annually thereafter. And the contract's written to have 2 additional renewal years, which would coincide with our already existing contract with the Dame. So when we do another RFP 2.5 years from now, all of these will be in line. In addition, we want approval of a 10% contingency, which is that's consistent with our other contracts, and also approving the additional staff to complete all the management of this. It equates to 1 full-time maintenance specialist and then 2,080 hours of part-time maintenance attendant hours to assist. The budget document that I showed you on the previous slide is the appropriation of funds we are requesting council approve. Some of the funds have already been appropriated in the current operating budget. It's just realigning them with our expenditure needs, which do have slight increases in certain object areas. With that, I conclude the report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions about it.
Am I correct in saying that the revenues will cover the cost?
Yeah, there's a small story behind that, and on the dais I also provided you a separate handout that shows what the enrollments, levy enrollments are for 2015-16. And what you'll notice is that for 15-16, there was quite a change made compared to 14-15. The reason why is in 14-15, there was a reduction that occurred, and our current administrator of the tax district made those adjustments at the direction of TMLA at the county, just to try and bring the fund reserves back up. The unfortunate thing, though, is that it wasn't going to result in a revenue stream that would maintain that. And so we've asked them in 2 or 3 of the zones for the upcoming year to adjust them back up so that those reserves can become more healthy again. But yes, to answer your question, the expenditure pattern does fit within the revenue stream and does provide for a revenue savings year over year.
Thank you. Rick?
Yeah, it's a quick question. So, in real terms, basically, Adami's going to be doing mow and blow. A sprinkler breaks. They call Mark, say, "You've got a sprinkler out. Come fix it."
That's right.
Okay.
And they were low bidder?
They were low bidder.
Well, I mean, I can speak from experience. Adami is very, very good. The only thing that I had thought of was, wouldn't it be wonderful if it was all in-house? But I understand that it's not so easy to do that. All right. But that would be ideal. We should really think about that long-term. Anyway, anything else, gentlemen?
Just curious, you said
Yeah,
Public
Tom.
Works asked to have this transferred to community services, did they also model a budget on it and decide it would be less expensive this way? How'd that play out?
Part of their reasoning transferring, because they didn't really know how to model a landscape budget. That's not their expertise area. They know how to model street sweeping and lights and, those sorts of things, engineering things as well, but not landscaping so much.
Okay, so this just really isn't their forte.
Correct. They modeled the fossil filters and the lighting stuff so that all of our numbers would match up and be within the budget for what was being collected on revenues.
Okay.
Anything else, gentlemen?
I'll move that we recommend the city council to approve the budget as proposed, or not the budget, but
Well, can I interrupt just for
Oh,
1 second?
sure.
Do we need to do these independently? There are 4 items.
Not necessarily. It can be stated as a blanket approval of the action items that council will then act on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was saying as proposed by staff.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion and then a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved unanimously. All I can say, Robert, is you are going to be very busy. I mean, really busy.
Mark is.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to item 8.2. The purchase of a vehicle. And again, I'll go to Robert.
Sure, I'll defer to analyst Alan Yoon on this.
Alan, please.
Yes, for 8.2, the AQMD fleet pool vehicle purchase. Earlier in the year, in April, the City Council approved purchase of 2 hybrid Highlanders for Public Works Department. And so since we inherited the LNLMD contract, and so the cow recycle truck that I use will now be, Mark Cooper will be using that as the supervisor. And so we need an additional vehicle for our community service department since we have 7 employees. So we decided to piggyback off the state of California contract and get a Highlander for our department.
And to give a little more background on how the transfer of things occurs, the department currently has leases for 3 maintenance trucks occupied and used by some of our maintenance staff now. Since we're going to bring on another full-timer, they need a maintenance truck. And so instead of trying to purchase another maintenance truck, the cow recycle truck was the most reasonable way to approach this without increasing costs. And then the AQMD purchase has no impact on any of the LLMD funds, and it has no impact on the general fund. This is grant money that comes through on an annual basis and includes the reimbursement of fuel for the first 3 years. So the only hard cost we have is the maintenance of it, routine oil changes, things like that.
Anything else, gentlemen? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Move approval, Mr. Chairman, as recommended.
Okay. And Rick seconds. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved unanimously. All right, that brings us to item 9 and the CIP program update.
Sure, I'm going to, as usual, defer pieces of this to staff to provide the updates to you. Before I get there, some important dates, which will also get reviewed in the special events section, are on the slide right now. Notably, though, October 3rd is the birthday gala, so if you haven't gotten your tickets, they're still available. It's going to be a great event. I think we have about 60 people already confirmed to come, so it's going to be a full house, but we do have room for more. That's on Saturday at 7 p.m. at Audie Murphy Ranch Sports Park. The 24th is the Fall Festival, November 11th, Veterans Day Ceremony, and December 5th is the new date for the Spirit Park grand opening. That was delayed to allow Brookfield a little more time to work through some ADA compliance issues on site. There was some concrete that they still needed to pour, and so they requested additional time to do that. So with that, I'm going to defer 9-1 over to Alan Yoon to give an update.
Thank you. 9.1 is the community improvements project update. Highlighted in red are the newest update. The KC Interior final punch list items will be occurring tomorrow, and the project will be fully completed. CS004, the Sun City Boulevard Median Landscaping Project. Informal bids are due next week, 10/9/15. CS006, the picnic shelter improvements. Staff is working on designs right now with the playground company. And CS007, park furnishings replacement. Staff has done a preliminary inventory of what we have in the field and what needs to be replaced, and so we're preparing the bid specifications. CS009, the irrigation control systems upgrades. CalSense controller components have been delivered, and they're sitting in my office, and we're just waiting to schedule for installation. There's a total of 7 new control panels and 8 new antennas. And then CS0025, AMR skate park security enhancements. Staff is working with cost estimates for the security camera and fencing companies. And CS026, the maintenance storage improvements. A new commercial roll-up door is already installed at ELP Peterson, and staff in-house, we're going to weld additional metal, what you can say, metal bars on. There's metal mesh windows there, and we're going to add additional metal bars to it for added security. And CS033, the park surveillance. Staff is working with a consultant to get cost estimates and design concepts. Thank you.
We don't have that, do we? Can you make copies for us of the sheets? Yes. Okay.
What is it you're looking for?
We don't have this in paper.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, we do have it. Why did I?
It's a lot of trees.
Okay. All right. 9.2. Again, the Parks in Progress update.
Sure, I'll give you a quick update. There's just been a few changes. As usual, the changes are highlighted in red. Spirit Park, as I mentioned, that grand opening has been delayed to December 5th. Everything else in the park looks good. It's moving forward. All the vegetation is taking root. There aren't any major issues. We had some replanting to choose some species that were going to do better, particularly in the Memorial Garden. Actually, Brookfield provided a video of an aerial flyover with their drone. It's really kind of impressive. So once I get some clearance from them, I'd love to share it with the commission. It's kind of it's impressive. It's a cool piece. Central Park. I've been told that in my bin here in City Hall, there's Plan Check 4 that just came in, which should be the last round. On Plan Check 3, there was very, very minor edits that needed to happen, and I think that they did that. So hopefully this is the last set, and the next time they'll be submitting will be Mylars. That'd be wonderful. Talvera, this project is one you all reviewed in the concept. They did make changes to that and resubmitted to staff for review, so we're taking a look and making sure they applied all the things that were asked for. And then I want to introduce to you guys two new, they're not new projects, they're new concepts, so to speak. One is AMR North, which is essentially the Brookfield developments on the north side of Newport Road. And what's being proposed is a net of 3.42 acres, includes one public park and 2 public paseos that are part of the CFD. And on the next slide, I'll show you a quick overview of that. And then next is another Brookfield project, one that had been approved by the county some time ago, wherein they're asking for a map extension and have told the city staff that they're looking to do a redesign of the entire map. They just need a little more time to work on that before it expires. I'll also show you what that is going to entail on the next slide. So we can go forward one more. This is the Menifee Valley Ranch specific plan, and I think you have a handout, a larger map of this. It should help a little bit, so you're not having to squint too much. This is important to highlight because on the screen, the left side of the screen, you'll see PA9, and then you'll see PA8. PA8 is actually Heritage High School. And so really, if you rotated this image 90 degrees clockwise, that would be north. And so with the high school there, PA9 was intended originally in the specific plan to be sort of this paseo, long open space. It was very creative the way they were proposing it. I wanted to show you this because of the discussion the commission had regarding a regional park in this area in the future. And we can go one more slide forward. Oh no, I'm sorry. Go back. At the end of the director comments, I have a slide that'll show the overlay with what you all have seen in the land that's just outside of the city boundaries on the east side with this specific plan map to show where the possible joint or junction of these two can overlay. Because what's being proposed by Brookfield is consolidating all of their park ideas for this specific plan into one larger one that could help provide the regional park space that we've been looking for.
That's wonderful.
So that's this. They are looking to submit, after they get the extension, they're looking to submit revised tentative maps very soon. So, next one, please. AMR North, this is the very rough preliminary concept of the park, PA 30. This is going to be just north of Salt Creek. If you look at the vicinity map, in the right lower hand corner, you can see Salt Creek runs along the border of this. The two paseos, which are on the next slide, run just beneath this, but a larger map is in front of you as well. Again, this is just a rough layout. They gave this to me preliminarily to give them some feedback, so that way when they submit their concept, there's a little less edits for them to do, which I appreciate. It saves some time. But you can kind of see some general information about what's being proposed. They didn't have a restroom building. We told them it needs to. Obviously, security cameras and the typical standards that we have for our park development. Next slide. Here are the two paseos. They run sort of running. I guess that's northeast along Salt Creek. The north side of the paseos is the street level, and then the south side is the county Salt Creek Trail. So this is going to be a good complement to what the county is already working toward, and I hope that was going back on the County Board of Supervisors agenda very soon, so that they could build this segment. So these are the two new projects. Once the formal submittals come through for concepts, commission will obviously have its full review, but I did want to get this in front of you early just so you can start thinking about things.
Any comments, gentlemen?
Great, good ideas.
Okay. 9.3 is the Recreation Division report.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Jason Hendricks, Community Services Supervisor with the Community Services Department. And I'm here to provide an update on Recreation Division activities during the month of September. I'll start with the K San Ysidro Senior Center, our drop-in enrichment programs. We currently are offering 23 classes. Those are the drop-in classes, excursions, and then activity clubs that are created at the facility. We had 1,996 participants during the month of September. That included 2 additional excursions, which continue to be a great draw and very popular amongst the seniors. Those 2 this year were this last month were Old Town San Diego and Mission San Juan Capistrano. Seniors had a great time, and they continue to ask for more excursions. So we'll be offering a trip, actually featuring a large bus this time to try to get more seniors involved and they're going to be going to Oak Glen in October. So we're excited for that. Lazy Creek Recreation Center, the After School Adventures Program, commonly referred to as ASAP. We're averaging 21 participants daily now. They have a daily activity schedule that includes homework assistance, outdoor activities, which is sports or group activities. They're doing a lot of STEM activities as well, related to science, technology, engineering, and math. So that's a great program that Aisha is running at Lazy Creek. Excuse me. And then our Lazy Creek preschool program continues to be a great draw for our residents. We have had 69 participants monthly last year in the various programs last month at the facility. We only had one special event this past month in September, and that was a co-sponsorship that Alan Yoon and some of our coordinators went out to. Alan actually participated in the Soapbox Derby, and I think he came up a little bit short, but he promises to bring home the gold next year, so hopefully that'll happen. But from my understanding, it was a great event. There was about 250 participants there, or people there, with about 16 cars entered, I believe was the number. So good partnership with Valleywide, and we were happy to be out there. Our contract classes continue to be popular. We have 4 classes that we're currently offering with participants registered, with over 360 participants in those. We're really excited about our new Menifee Matters publication going out soon, and hopefully that will increase participation in our current classes and get our new classes that we've had on board and ready to go for the last couple of months, and get some enrollment in those classes as well, because we have a really great slate of classes that we're offering to the community. Our sport field allocations continue to grow. Our fields are at a high premium, which means Mark and his guys are doing a great job taking care of things. We currently have 7 leagues that are using our fields right now. We've had an influx of individual Menifee travel teams that are based out of Menifee that are playing in different areas that would like to use our facilities to practice. All Menifee residents, which is great, and they're taking care of the fields and coming and asking for more, and we're trying to be as fair across the board as possible about it. So, and the great thing is the groups are working together. So if one group says we're not using the field, they're letting us know so that we can reallocate that out to some of the groups that are still looking for fields. Moving on to our facility and shelter reservations, we had 15 rentals, both in our outdoor park shelters as well as our indoor facilities this past month, with over 1,190 guests. And then one of the most exciting things that we have going on right now that actually they just left the facility as they were helping us out is our Santa Rosa Academy interns. We have a group of 4 interns right now, young high school students, juniors and seniors, that are coming in and helping us out with some of our slideshows. In fact, you'll see the fruits of their labor on display at the gala, which I'm sure you'll all be at on Saturday. They put together an amazing slideshow that'll kind of highlight the past 7 years. Thank you to Mr. Zimmerman and his wife for sending us some great pictures, and they put those to good use through a slideshow, complete with music and some great features. So they really helped us out a lot with that. They're helping out with flyers, doing some research and some outreach at their school related to the events that we have coming up for teens. Our Youth Advisory Committee, our YAC, we had our first official meeting this past Monday here at the council chambers.
The YAC, huh?
The YAC, yeah. They elected their 2015-2016 board. The chairperson is Carla Monroy. The co-chair is Abigail Hughes, and the secretary is Angelica Austin. The great thing about this group, specifically the board, is that there's a mix of high school and Angelica is a college student. So there'll be some good leadership across the board there on that board. In going with the theme that we also have a couple of college students on the advisory committee itself. So great group of kids. I'm really excited to start working with them. We have a lot of great things planned, including some facility tours, some outreach. We're actually going to be working with the City of Paris's Youth Advisory Council, Youth Advisory Committee, to do some team building, some group games and things of that nature to bring the 2 groups closer together and to share some common challenges that the groups face and find some solutions for them. So exciting things coming up for that group. And that concludes my report on the Recreation Division activities for months of September. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Gentlemen, any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I just want to point out that I saw the letter earlier that Robert passed out about congratulations on winning the award.
Is that-
Yeah,
The YAC, no, not, the YAC group won a nice award.
I'm glad the commissioner brought that up. This is, now we're allowed to share it because the award was officially given, I believe, yesterday, at California League of Cities Conference. The city received the Helen Putnam Award for program excellence in serving the community through youth programs, and this was for our Youth Advisory Committee. for the 14-15 season. And as you know, we had a number of returners, and there's a great cross-section. Got kids from all 3 high schools, and we have young adults from 3 colleges. You've got Mount San Jacinto, you've got UCR, and
Cal State
San Marcos. So it's a good balance of male and female, on the committee. So we're pretty happy about that. I did want to also highlight, because you know me, my business mind has to balance out my recreation mind sometimes, but we have been really pleased with the return on revenue for all of the programs as a whole, between rentals and classes and everything else. We have grossed $60,000 in 3 months. And to give you a point of reference, Valley-Wide's contract for last year, for the entire year, was about $114,000 for the whole year. So we're on pace to really exceed that and do it with great quality, because we're getting a lot of positive reinforcement from the community and positive response. And I want to highlight what Jason said about the Menifee Matters going out. Those numbers have resulted without Menifee Matters even being out for the fall yet. It's gotten a late release. So it's just going to jump up from here.
Well done.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anything else, gentlemen? Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Let's go to Maintenance Division report.
Good evening, Commissioners. I just want to say thanks for your continued support. Just a quick overview of September. We had new work orders, 63 of them, completed 53 of them, open 10, so 84% we're complete. Gives you graffiti and all the buildings, things we've done. Then you can go over to the next page, and it gives you year-to-date. So we passed over the 200 mark. We have 202 work orders we've run since we put this in. I think it was late July when we finally got this going. Completed 176, so we have 26 open, and some of those are just waiting for some bids going out and that type of thing. So we're 87% complete, and that's pretty good for getting into this new. So go over a couple of special projects we're doing. As Alan mentioned, new security roll-up door. We got that in. We're going to reinforce the windows so we can keep our equipment in there. Let's see, we're informal bids on street medians. I don't know if he mentioned that. And then we're going to redo this trail over here. We're putting out for bids on, was that Salt Creek or Paloma Wash? We have some cracks out there that are about 4 inches big on it right now. So once I caught wind of it, I was out there with one of my guys, and I was like, oh my gosh, and we drove up and down that. We had 46 cracks that are that big in just one section, and so we've actually put it into 4 sections, A, B, C, D. Didn't know the cost just in case we had to do it in sections. So we actually figured out that we can probably afford to do the whole thing. So we're waiting for 2 more bids to come in, and then we should be rolling out. We want to have it safe out there for so many people use that for walking and everything. Let's see.
Was that due to the weather?
This first section where they're working right here, that was the real bad one. It might have been some of the construction work, the land.
Yeah, my assumption is that because it's only affecting the trail that's on the east side of the wash, I think it had to do with a lot of settling at the rich development site plus the construction over time. That's an asphalted section of trail. It's the only asphalted area that we have. All our other trails are DG. And so I think there's settling that had occurred, created the cracks over time.
Are we going to change it to DG?
Not at this time. In fact, what's being bid out is to actually fill those cracks and then re-slurry it.
Yeah. So, when we first started on the bad section, the guy that I had with me, he's wheeling it, and he's like, oh my gosh. He's seeing this just in the first section. But then we got to the other ones, and, there's some there, but nothing compared to this first section. So, anyway, so we're waiting to hear from that. We're waiting a little bit on the tree trimming. We're getting ready to go out to bid on that. We want to make sure trees aren't falling on people and that type of thing. Let's see here. They just replaced some barbecues because they were in bad shape until we get through with our capital improvements. just to make everything safe out there. They just got done installing those. And to say about the dispenser, the toilet paper and everything that was out, we had a lot of vandalism in that lady's bathroom there. Somebody was torching the little black things that hold them, and the fire department was called several times. I just got those in this last week, so they're getting ready to be installed probably tomorrow, Monday. So we'll have these vandal-resistant type where they can't get a hold of them, locks and everything. So, yeah, that's just the cost on that was $500 and something just for the vandal-resistant. So, and I installed that when I was with the county in the men's, and we haven't had any problem. So the women's was next. So, let's see here. Continue to do weekly maintenance inspection of the parks, landscape sites, and facilities, keeping them to standards. I've been going on a lot of walks. We finally, I think, got Newport Road from, was it Brea? Brea all the way down to Getz. So I think we're just about there. It will be the city here pretty quick. So they had a lot of things bad. In fact, on one of the walks, I actually didn't even get a block, and I said, we're stopping right now. And you guys call us when you're ready. So anyway, we're close on that. Let's see. We just installed a new hot and cold water dispenser at the K Center. Save a little bit of money, filtered out of the tap water. Installed cable TV, got all that installed, and the TV's got all that hooked up. So they have TV throughout the big room and the lobby now. We had an issue with a car driving up on Lazy Creek Park a couple of weeks ago and hit one of the light poles. The whole head unit came down, so I ended up going out and securing the electric and everything, and so we could still have the lights on that day. But we're getting ready to upgrade the lights to LED. So we're going to end up having the pole and everything shot. So we'll have to go through it and see what we can come up with. So we're going out on that and getting some prices. I just got.
Was the person dropped?
Nobody caught him. I did a report, and somebody, actually Christina, that works for us, her parents live right there, and they heard it. But by the time they got out there, they were gone. So they literally, the car tire went up on the pole. And the whole head unit, boom, broke the whole thing off. Wires were hanging out, and it was, something else. I just got back from a 3-day conference for Certified Playground Safety Inspector, which is mandated by the state of California, the only state that is. So I just got that back from that, and had to take a test, so we'll hear in 4 weeks. I had one about 3 years ago, so. And I'll shut up now. Any questions?
Gentlemen, anything?
No?
I got a question, Mark. I mean, I know we're having all this heat right now, but I keep hearing about this El Nino that's going to hit us this winter. Is there any kind of preparation or extra thought that has to be put out there, or how do we look if we get flooded out?
I think well, the trees were the first thing. Is my concern is when you get El Nino and you get things are going to be coming down on people's houses and all that. So that's a critical thing, is doing the trees. Like when I'm walking with Brookfield and everything out there, you have undercrossings on the sidewalks. So I'm asking all those to be cleared, because once my contractor takes it, that's going to be cleared all the time. So, and we've got our drains cleared at Peterson's parking lot. So, we're just trying to make sure everything's flowing. We got public works out there. They cut the V-ditch down Marietta Road, which is a problem that Robert and I were discussing. So, we're just trying to make sure everything drains. And I think that's all we can do. And we try to monitor the water. Anytime it rains, man, it's off for a week. You might see some brown out there, but I mean, we're that close. They've got us on a stage 4B right now. That's 50%. So we're going to see some bad spots. And if it gets better later, we can overseed or, make it better. But like where the sports park, that's, reclaimed water, AMR. We're good out there. There's no restrictions. So we'll just continue to do the best. And we got a little bit of space coming up, a little extra space we're going to add. So, we'll just keep working at it. So.
Good. Anything else?
Thanks.
Thank you, Mark.
You bet. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, special events update.
All right, Commissioners, good evening once again. I'll be providing the special events update for all the great events we have coming up. We've talked a lot about it tonight, but the birthday gala is coming up on Saturday from 7 to 10 at Audie Murphy Ranch Sports Park. It's going to really be a great event. We have a live jazz band that'll be performing. Their name is Contrafunctus 9. We heard them on SoundCloud today, so if you're interested in seeing what's going to be offered, you can get a sneak preview and search for that band. We have unlimited appetizers from BJ's, and then thanks to our partnership with the Menifee Valley Chamber of Commerce, we'll have beer and wine sampling. The beer sampling will be provided by Mason Jar Brewing Company here in Menifee. The wine portion will be provided by Candy Crest Winery out of Riverside. We also will have cupcakes. As I mentioned, the Santa Rosa Academy interns put together the slideshow. It's Menifee Remembers is what we're calling it. So it'll be a really special opportunity for you to look back on some of the things that have really shaped this community and kind of where we're going from here. Coming up after that, we'll have our community cleanup day on October 17th at Heritage High School, specifically for the Roma Land and Homeland communities. Again, that's a partnership with Riverside County, similar to what we had last year. Then the Fall Festival on October 24th at Audie Murphy Ranch Sports Park once again. Time on that is from 4 to 9 p.m. That's a partnership we have with Menifee 24/7 amongst other organizations in the community. We've had a lot of great support from Menifee 24/7 in providing some reduced or even in some cases in-kind contributions from some of the local businesses. Mr. Pork Pie will be there for free to entertain the kids. We've been able to get some jumpers donated from DNA Party Rentals. So just a really great partnership, and it's just going to be a culminating event that's bringing together the event that Menifee 24/7 held last year and the event that Lazy Creek Rec Center had last year, and making it one event that all families can come to instead of having to spread themselves out and try to get to two places at once.
There was just a question. I've had two people come to me about that fall festival because of the parking, and they're concerned about the children running around, especially near a highway that runs 55 miles an hour.
We're actually working with
If they're doing it legally.
Right.
They usually go, 100? So, you know what I mean. There are a lot of children going to be there.
Is the concern regarding when the kids and their families exit their cars or when they're at the event?
No, when they exit their cars.
Yeah, no, it's a real concern. I'll recall back to when the park was being opened, and the recommendation from the Community Services Department was to not allow on-street parking. However, it did not necessarily go that way. It got painted for parking. So the best we can do is encourage folks to park in the two parking lots as well as within the community in the Audie Murphy development. But unfortunately, we can't prohibit them from parking on the street. It's a parking zone now.
Are we going to have a police presence?
Yeah, I was just going to say we've been working with Lieutenant Fellows to hopefully get some assistance on that day, whether it be from actual office deputies or whether it be from the Crime Watch or some combination of both perhaps. But we've been talking about that pretty regularly, so I anticipate getting some support from the sheriffs.
Yeah, we really need that.
Maybe
Agreed.
something
Yeah, go
like
ahead.
a signage, before and after, as you're approaching event, slow down.
Absolutely. We'll actually be working with Public Works on that also. That's something that we've already discussed. They'll have signs posted the week leading up to the event and also the day of the event, so everybody knows where the overflow parking will be, that there's parking available on the streets around the park, and then, of course, the limited parking inside the park, which will fill up pretty quick, we're thinking.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then after the Fall Festival, we have our Veterans Day ceremony at Wheatfield Park from 10 to 12 on Veterans Day. As I mentioned at the previous meeting, we have a Veterans Day essay contest, which will be rolling out shortly. So that'll be an opportunity for local students to write an essay about what Veterans Day means to them. And then the winners will be selected to read their essay at the actual event on the main stage. We're going to have a chalk walk where kids can do some art near the memorial about what Veterans Day means to them. Of course, it'll be supervised. And then we're currently looking for some additional speakers and components to definitely make this a family event that people can come to and really be excited about what we have going on for that day. And then next up, as Robert mentioned, we have a very busy day on December 5th, Saturday here in this community. We'll have our Breakfast with Santa event, which is a traditional event at Case Sinacero Senior Center. Of course, Santa will be there taking pictures, talking to kids. We'll have breakfast going on at the same time. That event will be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We'll have two different seatings because last year it was extremely packed. So we'll have a 9 to 11 and then an 11 to 1. And then we'll invite our residents to go right down the street to Spirit Park to experience the grand opening of Spirit Park from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you haven't had a chance to go to that park, I highly recommend it. It's an amazing facility. We will have some tennis instruction going on since there's a really great tennis court area there. We'll have a tennis clinic by our soon-to-be contract instructor who's going to be doing tennis lessons there. And we'll also have a basketball clinic because there's a lit basketball court there, which will probably end up turning into some sort of dunk contest because we have some staff that are former ball players that have expressed interest in doing a dunk contest. So, yeah. And then finally, December 12th is our Christmas tree lighting at the Menifee Town Center Roundabout Oak Tree. That's from 4 to 8, and it'll be games, outdoor movie, pictures with Santa, and then, of course, the lighting of the Christmas tree.
And I remember last time with the problem of parking, are we doing anything different? Are we going to maybe provide parking somewhere else and move them?
Actually, last year there wasn't an issue with parking. There was an issue with flow, traffic flow, and access to the site. So what's changed this year is there'll be access from both Newport and from La Pietra, from the north end and the south end. So in and out, make it a lot easier for people to access and avoid the backup on Newport.
Okay. Newport is just wonderful any time of the day, but
Yes, it is.
add it to this and
So
nightmare.
busy few months, but a very exciting few months. So we're excited to have all the residents come out to all of our events, and of course the commission to join us as well, especially this Saturday, October 3rd, the gala. In case you may not have heard about it, it's really gonna be a great time. So we really hope you guys will join us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we go to 9-6, the Heritage Lake North Minor Ranch.
We did.
There we go. Actually, and I apologize for what's in the agenda. It's formally called Menifee Valley Ranch Specific Plan. So you recall this map from earlier this evening. This is the proposed specific plan that shows the open space areas. What I want to do is do the overlay on what you've seen in the past. If you can go to the next slide. And I'm sorry it's a little pixelated because I had to rotate it and then overlay it with the map you've seen in the past. Along the top is obviously McLaughlin. Where it's sort of pixelated, it says PA 8. That is the high school. And then you've got, of course, PA 9. The original specific plan had some about 7 soccer fields within PA 9, all in a linear formation. And then, obviously, other parks spread throughout the tracks. And so off to the right-hand side is the lots the parcels that you all had reviewed in previous meetings, particularly the one ending in 6-9, which is owned by Riverside County Flood. And then, of course, some of the information we shared with you about those other parcels, starting with 6-5 and going all the way over to 7-0. So the one in red is the one that you all identified as a primary interest location. And what I wanted to highlight to you on the specific plan, that's basically to the west of Briggs, is where it says PA 11, and I've highlighted in the yellow box. That is the area that Brookfield has identified as a location to consolidate all the parks into one. And what they were proposing was approximately 39 acres, I believe. And so then you would see PA 4A, PA 5A disappear. PA 9 would be reduced a bit. It wouldn't extend westward so much, but it would still exist between the high school and what's now showing as PA 11. So you'd have this contiguous park piece between the high school and essentially the utility corridor that goes over the top right there, and then opportunity for a regional sports park in the yellow area below. I put this overlay so that if at some point during the review, the concept review, and even if it gets to the point of planning and review of working drawings, the idea of the additional parcels just outside of the city boundaries is still an option, because if during their map development they determine they can only do 20-something acres, that isn't necessarily going to be enough for a full-size regional sports park. You may still want the overflow on the other side of the street. And for a regional park, it's okay to split the actual area by major arterials. That's less of an issue, because the attraction of a regional sports park is that it's all in one place, right? And across the street is not necessarily a different place. It's still, the general locale. So I wanted to show you the overlay so you can kind of see how things work together. Even though it's being proposed by Brookfield for this project, I don't think you should take off the table the stuff across the street yet, although there does have to be some additional action items by City Council to seriously consider that piece.
Yeah, my feeling has always been that if you're getting something for free, don't look like a gift horse in the mouth. That's almost 40 acres and it's free. So all we have to do, or I should say all City Council has to do, is petition LAFCO to give it to us. The supervisor has already said that the county will give it free. So I really think we should do it. I'm waiting for the results of the general plan,
Of the master,
which I would think is going to also recommend a regional park anyway.
the master plan, yes.
The
Yes.
master plan.
A quick observation also is that that kind of diagonal line, that's the railroad tracks. And there's a utility corridor along McLaughlin, which is a great place to put a trail. Railroad tracks are very good for trail. There's federal funding available for from rails to trails, so that might come into the picture there. That's going to be the future Hemet Metrolink line, right? So that's going to be upgraded massively. It's going to be a real nice addition to that community. But going up Briggs, we've identified that as a trail also. So you've got a really good-looking and very very large recreational component to this map here, which is wonderful, which adds to the value and quality of life of the citizens there. I think that's great.
What we need, though, somewhere, is a jumping-off point, someplace where people could park horse trailers, take off from there. But once you have this area, you might be able to designate a small part, for that.
Well, I think it's of course you can do that. I was just thinking out loud here. The developer will, in that yellow boxed area, if that goes through, would provide the park. We wouldn't have to put out any money. Whereas this area which we'd like to annex, we know we can do that, but then it's going to take time to come up with the funds to develop it into a working park. It would be great to have that land. It is, I agree, but it'd be nice to have something hitting the ground running.
Oh, I agree. I do
It'd be a
agree.
big plus.
Yeah.
Well, if I can add a little bit to the conversation, what's being requested by Brookfield at this point is an extension, and they've made it clear that they want to resubmit to redesign the tentative map. And I think that is the opportunity for the city to really set the groundwork and of what we want to see there. So if it is developing a staging area for equestrian use that is adjacent to the utility corridor and adjacent to the sports complex at the same time, you have the opportunity to really kill a lot of birds at one time.
I'm just trying to remember exactly what was said by the representative from Edison,
Mr.
That
Hicks.
utility corridor belongs to them.
Yes.
I don't think they would have a problem with people riding horses along there. And they certainly couldn't have a problem with people walking on it. So if we put a staging area near it, in the yellow area, but near that location, somebody could use that.
Yeah, and
You
keep in
know.
mind, PA9 is something they want to maintain still. That would also be park space.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
mhm.
So we're talking, that's very nice,
Yes.
extremely nice. Okay, anything else,
Yeah,
John?
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
I had an opportunity, today to go over and visit the Murrieta, what do they call it? The Murrieta Equestrian Center out there on Juniper. Maybe some of you horse people have been there. I was just thinking how that would fit into something like this in the future. We're right next to Heritage High School, which has a great livestock and farm-type program.
4-H.
4-H, big thing we've talked about here before. This might be an opportunity to lay the groundwork for getting a facility built that would house all that type of thing and tie in with what we've all discussed here tonight with the trails, connections and everything. So I think we ought to move forward on it.
I certainly agree. Anyone else? All right.
I think I'm speaking for myself, but I think I could venture to say, please let them know, yes, yes, yes.
Well,
Oh, yeah, for me too.
yeah. And before I forget, we can go to the next slide. Apparently, we got a picture of the actual award,
Nice.
so it's a good thing. And I also saw it on Facebook already,
Cool.
so it's a
Wonderful.
good thing.
Good stuff.
You know, all of this should be publicized.
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Commissioner reports? None? Any other future agenda requests?
Oh, you know what?
I'm sorry, go ahead,
Follow-up
Tom.
Question. At the end of our last meeting, I had asked about the docent program and whether or not that would be something we could go forward with. We were going to ask the city attorney about it. Any news?
I'm still waiting to hear back from the city
Oh, okay.
attorney.
Thank you.
I have one real quick one.
Go ahead.
It's just kind of a question. I'm thinking about the county-owned aquatic center. They got a real nice Olympic pool and all of that, and have we considered as Parks and Rec offering anything and utilizing that? I know that it's kind of an underutilized facility.
We've thought about it. In fact, I met with a swim team that claimed to be local, but I don't know how local they truly were, because they wanted to partner with the city and try to get some water time. And those are opportunities. I think in the bigger scheme of things, it's on our list. It's just not at the very top of it. I do know, as you all know, several of you sit on the regional park board, they have a very difficult time recovering costs for that facility. And I know that if we wanted to partner to use the facility, almost certain it wouldn't be free. And so we'd have to find a very creative way to have community members use it without really pinching their purse too much. So that's really, when I reviewed that opportunity, that's the first thing that came to mind for me. Not off the table, it's just I know that it's not going to be an easy one for the community to do.
If we had our own swimming pool here, there'd be costs, and you'd have to recover that cost with fees for services. So in my mind, it's an opportunity to have a pool without really having to maintain it and build it and all of that. We could certainly use that, and it would just be whatever typical fees we charge for our own pool is what we'd be charging Menifee residents to use that pool, and it's about as close to our city boundary as you can get.
Yeah, I can give you I guess, 2 points of experience. One being in the city of Riverside, I had overseen, amongst other things, the aquatics program there, which is, I think they have a total, they have more pools now, but at the time it was, I believe, 9 pools. And aquatics programming tends to be the lowest, of all recreation programs, the lowest cost recovery, because the cost center includes the maintenance and chemicals and all of that stuff, right? And then my time in Yucaipa, we had a partnership with Crafton Hills College, because the pool that they have was purchased with the city's money and some of Crafton Hills' money. It was a former Olympic pool, stainless steel Mirtha pool, and they paid to have it installed on the campus in exchange for community use. But part of the deal included the city paying $100,000 a year toward its maintenance. So no matter which way you slice it, there's a cost, and every city that I've ever worked in subsidizes the programming, no matter what.
And
It
the
never
county
ends up
does
being,
too.
yeah, and it never ends up being 100% cost recovery. It is a need, it is a desire of residents here. It's just, it ends up being a policy decision about what level of subsidy should be provided.
Do you feel that at the next month, we could get some kind of a staff report on the practicality of it?
Of using their pool?
Well, actually partnering with them, because you would have to do that in order to use the pool.
Yeah, I don't know about the next meeting, but I can reach out
No,
to.
I don't mean next month, I said next month.
Right, and let me reach out to Scott Bangle with Regional Parks and see. I don't know their policies right now, so let me ask them, and then we can try and bring it back to you all.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else, gentlemen? Hearing, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.